You know what's wild? A guy making $40,000 a year and a guy making $400,000 a year both think they're middle class, and they're both stressed about money. How is that even possible? Today, we're going through every single level of wealth, from broke to Bezos, and I'm going to show you what each level actually feels like. Not the Instagram version, the real version. And trust me, the results are going to surprise you. Let's go. Level 1, broke. We're talking 0 to about 30K a year, and I mean actually broke, not I can't buy a yacht broke. At this level, money isn't about building wealth, it's about survival. You're playing financial whack-a-mole. You fix one problem, another one pops up. Your car breaks down, that's not an inconvenience, that's a crisis. Because if you can't get to work, you can't make money. And if you can't make money, you can't eat. So what does this feel like? Imagine you're juggling, but instead of balls, you're juggling chainsaws, and they're all on fire, and someone just keeps throwing more at you. You're checking your bank account before buying it coffee. You're doing mental math at the grocery store. Okay, if I skip the chicken, I can afford the pasta and the sauce. The worst part, you can't plan for the future because you're too busy surviving the present. Retirement? That's a luxury. You're just trying to make it to Friday. Level 2. Paycheck to paycheck, 30 to 60,000 a year. You've got a job. You're making okay money. But here's the thing, you're still broke. You're just broke with a nicer apartment. This is the level where you're making enough to survive, but not enough to breathe. You've got a little cushion, but it's more like a napkin than a pillow. One emergency and you're right back to level 1. The analogy here is you're on a treadmill. You're running, you're sweating, you're working hard, but you're not going anywhere. The treadmill speed is set to bills, and it never, ever slows down. You can afford some small luxuries, maybe takeout once a week, maybe you have Netflix and Spotify, but you're still checking your account before making purchases. You're still saying, I'll wait till payday for things you actually need. And here's the kicker. You look like you're doing fine. You've got a car, an apartment, a smartphone, but inside, you're one flat tire away from pure panic. Level 3, comfortable, 60 to 100,000 a year. This is where things start to change. You're comfortable, not rich, comfortable. At this level, you can finally breathe. You've got an emergency fund, maybe $5,000, maybe $10,000. It's not life-changing money, but it's life-saving money. Your car breaks down? It's annoying, but not devastating. Remember that treadmill? You're still on it, but now you can actually slow it down sometimes. You can take a break. You can look around. You can go to a restaurant without studying the prices on the right side of the menu. You can buy the name brand cereal. You can take a vacation. Nothing crazy, but you can actually leave your city without having a panic attack about money. But here's the trap. You're comfortable, so you've stopped pushing. You think, I've made it, but you haven't. You're just comfortable. And comfortable is the enemy of wealthy. Level 4, financially secure. 100,000 to $250,000 a year. This is where most people think rich starts. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. At this level, you've got options. You can choose where you live. You can choose where you work. You can say no to things without worrying about the financial consequences. You're not on a treadmill anymore. You're on solid ground. You can walk, you can run, you can even sit down if you want. You are in control. You've got investments, you've got a 401k that's actually growing, you've got a house, or at least you're saving for one. You can handle emergencies without blinking. But here's the weird part. You still don't feel rich because you're comparing yourself to people at level 5 and 6. You see their houses, their cars, their vacations, and you think, I'm not there yet. This is the level where you're wealthy by most standards, but you don't feel wealthy. And that's the trap. It brings us right back to the beginning. The $40,000 guy is stressed because he's looking at level 3, and the $400,000 guy is stressed because he's looking at level 7. It turns out wealth isn't just a number, it's a mindset. And for most of us, the finish line just keeps moving. Let's continue with level 5, affluent. 250K to $1 million a year. At this point, you're in the top 5% of earners. You are doing really well. Money is no longer about survival, it's about lifestyle. You're not worried about paying the bills anymore. Now, you're worried about which bills to pay. Do you renovate the kitchen, or do you take the entire family to Europe for a month? Think of it like this. You're in a video game and you've unlocked all the basic levels. Now you're in the bonus rounds. Everything's just a little bit easier, more fun, more colorful. You can afford the private schools. You can afford a nice car, maybe even two. You can eat out whenever you feel like it. A cleaning service, a gardener, a personal trainer, these are all on the table. But here is the catch, and it's a big one. Your expenses have grown right alongside your income. You might be making 500 grand, but you're spending 450. That bigger house means bigger property taxes, bigger utility bills, and way bigger maintenance costs. You are rich, but you are not free. You still need that income. You still need that job. You're still just trading time for money. You're just getting a much, much better rate for it. So where does real freedom begin? That brings us to level 6, rich. This isn't, I think I'm rich. This is $1 to $10 million in net worth. Actually rich. At this level, you have wealth, not just income. This is the crucial shift. You could stop working today and your lifestyle wouldn't change for years, maybe even decades. The analogy changes here. You're not playing the game anymore. Now you're watching it. You have enough money that your money is making its own money. Your investments are growing, your real estate is appreciating, you are literally earning while you sleep. You can afford almost anything you want as long as it's not completely insane. You can buy the Porsche, but probably not the private jet. You can vacation in the Maldives, but you're flying first class, not chartering the plane. But here's the interesting part. You are still worried about money, not about survival, but about losing it. You're thinking about market crashes, about bad investments, about protecting everything you've built. This is the level where you learn the hard truth. More money does not mean less stress. It just means different stress. Which brings us to level 7, ultra wealthy, $10 to $100 million net worth. You're in the top 0.1%. You now have screw you money. You can do basically whatever you want. You want a beach house? Done. You want to start a new business just for fun with no expectation of profit? Go ahead. You want to never work another day in your life? Cool. Life is now being played on easy mode with all the cheat codes enabled. The rules that apply to everybody else, they just don't really apply to you anymore. You're flying private. You're staying in penthouses. You're buying art that costs more than most people's houses. You're donating more to charity than most people will earn in their entire lifetime. But here's the twist. You're still not at the top. You're looking up at the billionaires and you're thinking, man, they've really made it. You're rich, but you're not rich. And that's the thing about wealth. There is always another level. And then there is level 8, billionaire. $1 billion plus. You've won. You've beaten capitalism. At this level, money is just a number on a screen. It's not real anymore. You couldn't spend it all if you tried. You could buy a new Ferrari every single day for a year, and your net worth would barely even notice. The analogy evolves one last time. You're not playing the game. You're not watching the game. You own the game. You make the rules. You're buying sports teams. You're funding political campaigns. You are literally changing the world for better or for worse. But the crazy part, even billionaires have problems. They're just really, really weird problems. Should I buy Twitter? Which island should I buy this year? How do I get to Mars? So here's the truth after looking at all these levels. First, more money absolutely solves your money problems. But it just creates new, more complex problems. Second, every single level thinks that true happiness starts at the next level. And third, the gap in your quality of life between making $0 and $100,000 feels massive. The gap between $1 million and $10 million, it's barely noticeable.
The real secret isn't about having infinite money. It's about having enough money that you can finally focus on what actually matters: your health, your relationships, your purpose. So wherever you are on this ladder, just remember the goal isn't to reach the top. The goal is to reach the level where money stops controlling your life,